In this video, part 3 of our custom WordPress search. So in part 1, we built a form and created a search.php page. Part 2, we expanded on that search.php page. And in this part, we're going to go into more of building an algorithm to manipulate the results the way we want to. All right, so let's get started, and we're going to do a little bit of a review over the code so you can, if you didn't watch part 1 and part 2, you kind of understand where we're at. Even if you did watch part 1 and part 2, this is kind of a refresher for part 3. All right, so let's get started. We're here on the ideapro.io site. Here on the dashboard, we have some posts, we have some products, and we have some pages. So let's go to, all right, so here in the code, we have the form that we built. That is the WordPress search form. It's very simple. It just has an input field here with the name of S, and it's a get method. And then we have the value returned here. If someone has done a search, it will return the get S, and it will display it in the value field here so that they know what they've searched for before. And then we have a button here. Input type is submit, and search our site is the value which shows up on the button. All right. On the search.php page, which when you're building a theme, search.php is what WordPress returns on the is what WordPress looks for whenever it does a search. If you don't have this search.php page, it will use the default WordPress core to give you results, which in my opinion have never been what I want them to be. All right. So here on this search.php page, we've gotten the term from the URL with the get. So whenever you do a search for a term, let's go over here and do wall unit. We hit search. So here in the URL, we have $S is equal to wall plus unit. And then here are the results. I want to pull these results away from the side a little bit. So never recommend doing an inline style, but we're going to do it for, actually we're going to do, let's do it like this. So we want 0 pixels, whoops. All right, so we don't care about a top, we want 80 from the right and 80 from the left. All right, so I usually don't recommend putting in styles in line, but just doing it for simplicity here. All right, so now if we do a refresh, all right, so now we're pulling these away from this side a little bit. All right, and we did that on the entire body of the site so that it has a margins over here. Of course, I used padding, but you can also change this to margin, and it will do the same thing. All right, so these are our search results, and this is the title of the post, and then this is the content of that post, and then this is, so this one is a page, a page, a page, a post, and then we have products down here, and then all the way down here, another page. So one of the things that I like to do is I want to group the products and pages and posts together. All right. So what we've done here is we've done a search, the database. So we said select star from posts, WordPress posts, where post status is equal to publish, and ? Search. Now this ? Search is the search that we built right here with the open parentheses and close parentheses, post like, and then it goes through each term. We exploded these terms. So if you didn't watch the first and second video, basically we've got the term here, we exploded the term separated by a space. So when someone does a search of wall space unit, it's going to separate wall and unit into their own individual values. So, and we're putting those into this array explode term by using the explode function, okay? And then we're gonna loop through it here. This if ek, which is our key, if ek is equal to 0, which means if it's the first term, we're gonna say post like %, and then the value, which for the search that they did is wall. So post like wall, and then the second term and so forth. Now there may be 8 different terms. So the second term, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever, is going to say else search equals or post like, and then it's going to go through each one of those second, third, fourth, and fifth terms. The reason why I did that is because we need this or before post like, but on this one we don't, because basically this one will go right after the parentheses here, post title like. So it would go like that, but we want to make sure that we don't have or in front of it, or it's going to give us an error whenever we try to do the search. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And then down here, we're going for each query, which is our query here, as query key and query value. Now, this query value is going to return all the post information because we said star. So basically what that does is it gets the entire row, all the columns in that row by saying star. Now we could say select post title, post status, post type. We could do that and it would return the post title, the post status, the post type, but we want to return the entire post. So if we had a much larger amount of data in the database, we might want to pull individual columns, because the more data you pull, of course, the longer it's going to take to process that data. But for us, we don't have that much data, so we're going to use the star. So again, back here into the query, this is the query key and the query value. Now the query key for this is going to start out with 0 and then go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through as many posts that it pulls. The query value, on the other hand, is going to have the entire post information, the title, the status, the type, and the content. So here we're doing get link, which is the permalink, get permalink, and we're going to say query value, this QV here, and the post ID. So we're getting the post ID, we're getting the permalink, we're getting the URL that it links to. And we're going to show that link here in the H3. We're going to wrap the post title in an array, in an href, and then wrap that inside of an H3. And then here we have a paragraph tag that's going to print out the content, and then we're using the WP trim words, which concatenates, I guess is the right word for that, truncates, whatever the word is for that. It basically cuts off the content at 40. Now default for this function, if you left this blank, would be 55. And then after the end of it, we've put ... href is equal to continue reading, which will show you here on this page. Here's this link here. So if we left this blank, WordPress, this WP trim words function would automatically put in these 3 dots afterwards. But we want it to have 3 dots, space, and then a URL for continue reading. All right. So I hope that makes sense. Kind of a longer review than what I actually wanted to do, but we may have to split this third video into another one because I'm trying to keep them under 20 minutes. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to build an algorithm. So to start with, what I do is, and this is, you can do it multiple ways, this is just the way I do it, is I build a position, right? So position is equal to 101. And what this does is this gives us a value to start with, and I'll explain in just a second. And so then we're going to do a rate, and that's going to be an array. So then we're going to do a for loop. For I is equal to 0, I is less than or equal to 100, $i plus plus. Now, if you don't know what a for loop does, I'm going to put space in here. A for loop will start out at this number, which is 0, and it will go until it hits 100, and then this I plus plus is what adds the adds 1 to it every time it goes through this loop. So the first time it runs, it'll be 0. Second time it runs, it'll be 1, 2, 3, and so on until it hits 100. Now we've created position 101 here because we want the first position equal position minus 1. All right. So the first time this runs, it's going to take position and minus 1. So the value of position becomes 100. So the first run will equal 100. So then the rate, which is $i, is going to equal position, right? So basically we've built an array here, this rate array, to rate the position of the word in the title. It's hard to explain, but I'll explain it here in just a second. All right. So this is going to, let's put a comment up here, build a position array for the term. All right, that's going to be our comment there. And then here we're going to build the array based on type and position. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to go for each query as key value. Okay, so now we're looping through, put another comment through here. We're going to loop through the query. Okay, so now that we're looping through the query, now we got to loop through each term. Okay, so in this query, we want to pull the title. So $V post title. Okay, so we're going to create a variable called title, and we're going to pull the value here as post title. So that way we can just use title without having to use $V post title in every term. All right, so now we're going to loop through for each. Now we're going to loop through each term, and up here we've exploded these terms. So we're going to say for each exp term as term key, term value. Okay, so here it's going to loop through each term and look at where, if that term is part of the title, and then where that term position is in the title. Okay, so we're going to say if. So we're going to do end of if statement, just a comment so we know that, and we're going to do end of the for each term, and then end of for each, I like to do it for each result or query. We'll put query in there. All right, so if str pos start position string to lower, and then we're going to say title is term value not equal to false. Okay, so basically what this is saying is the string position, it's going to get the string position of the value, the term value here, which for our first term value is going to be wall. What are we looking at on time-wise? All right, is going to be wall, and then the if wall exists in the title, the reason why we did string to lower here is we're lowering the title, and then we need to str to lower. We also need to do lower string here. So if someone does a search for capital wall unit like that, it's still going to search this title for wall unit because we made everything in the title lowercase and we made everything in the value of the term lowercase. Okay, so if it's returned, it's going to get a value. Now we need to come up here and we need to build a calculate value. All right, and what that calculate value is going to do is it's going to say if the term exists, calculate for that term. All right, so calculate is equal to $calculate plus, and now we're going to count the number of characters in that term. So strlen and $tv, which is our term value. So basically the term wall is 4 characters, WALL. So calculate, which is 0, calculate is equal to 0 plus the number of characters in that term, which is 4. So that gives us this result now equals 4. Unit will be also 4, and then it counts the number of characters in that term to give a value, and I'll explain more on why that is. Okay, so then we've added that to it. So now we're going to say position is equal to start POS, and basically we have to copy this here, right? So the position of that string, which is, we're doing the same thing over again, and then we're going to say calculate is equal to calculate plus $rate POS. Now what this is doing is it's saying the position of this string. So for wall unit, if we've said wall unit is our search, and in this first term, page 1 wall unit, and this one says wall unit page 2, wall will be the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th position. So what we're doing up here is we're saying if the position is 7, it's going to be 100 minus 7. So if that makes sense, is that right? I'll explain here in just a second. So basically now we can, for each term, we can display the calculation. So we're going to say print $calculate, and then we're going to add a break so we see each one. And down here we're going to turn off the results here. So let's do we're going to turn off these results because I don't want to show that. I want to show the results for the calculate. All right, so if we go back here and we refresh just like we did another search. So here basically we have these numbers: 189, 203, 197, 199, 185, 203, 197, 97, 97, 104, and 98. Now what those are is that's the calculation for the number of characters and the position of those characters in each of our results. All right, so this video has gotten longer than what I wanted it to, so I'm going to have to split it into another video. But at this point, what we've done is we've kind of built our own little algorithm, and in the next video, we're going to parse out that algorithm and make the results show up the way we want them to. All right, so remember to subscribe, like this video, and look for the 4th one coming just right after this. Thanks.